But the cool and kind of super gross thing is that I have because of my skin allergy, they had a staple instead of sew. So then because the skin was really swollen, when I woke up, I could like see inside.
Shut up. Daphne, you crossed the line, Daphne.
Assured. Insured. Are you sure?
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Assure, Insure, Are You Sure? With me, Amanda Chang, and we have Andy, Andrew, and our special guest, Daphne. Hi, Daphne.
Hi, what's up?
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, living in Singapore, we are all aware of the 5 C's, but there is one C that, not many people like to talk about, but we're gonna do that right here today, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna be talking about cancer. So I was out and about on the streets to kind of get, some opinions from, people on the street to see what they thought about cancer. Hey guys, so I'm back on the streets today to find out what Singaporeans feel about the dreaded C word. When I say the word cancer, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
I think it's expensive because we all know that it's curable today, and
To a certain extent.
to a certain extent,
Yes.
yes. But it's expensive, unless you buy insurance or something.
Lung cancer, because I smoke. So
I guess a lot of words come to mind. Maybe the most pertinent one is death.
I think painful, because when I think about cancer, I will associate it with like chemotherapy and the different treatments that they go through.
So tell me something that you know about cancer.
Yeah, actually, my grandma, she passed away from cancer. It's horrible. When you see them suffering, sometimes you wish that they would just skip that stage.
it's something that's unpredictable. You never know what's gonna happen. You never know which one you will get if you get, and it's not easily curable.
The only thing I really do know is that it's incurable.
So I do know that it's something that's could be as close to you, and there's no way for it to prevent that.
I know that it could be hereditary, it's fatal, and it could happen to anybody.
So about 39 people are diagnosed with cancer and 15 people die from the disease every day. What do you think about that?
15 every day. Wait, you serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
Okay, it's quite worrying.
Even if the number is high, it's something that I don't really think will happen to me.
It sounds like a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's true.
That is crazy. It's hard to hear. It's really scary. It even makes like the statement that I said just now about how it could happen to anybody even scarier.
In terms of your lifestyle, do you take any steps or precautions to make yourself less averse to cancer?
I think generally, if you are healthy, if you sleep well, then perhaps that's one way to combat any potential illness that you might get.
I do plan to maybe get a health checkup every 2 years in the future.
So quitting smoking was the biggest one for me.
Yes.
I guess I exercise most of the time now, probably 2 to 3 times a week.
Now I'm more wary and more cautious in terms of my alcohol intake. I try to eat healthier food now and exercise regularly, definitely. And I feel like that's all that matters. Especially now.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
do the best that we can.
Yeah.
I got really interesting responses. Some of them said that they felt that it was incurable. As we grow older, we hear our peers or whoever it is, and they're quite young, and they do have the disease,
Yeah.
or they recover from it or whatever it is. And our first reaction is, oh my God, they're so young.
Yeah.
How did this happen to them? Why do you think people think that this is such a taboo or a touchy topic? If it is so scary, why aren't we taking it more seriously? Is it because of this false perception that it will never happen to us, or maybe adopting a more YOLO mindset?
I think that the false perception thing is definitely linked to why we don't talk about it. Because for example, if you get lung cancer, and if it's because you smoke, then you can say oh, you got lung cancer because you smoke. So therefore, on the flip side, if I don't smoke, it's I'm definitely not gonna get lung cancer. You know what I mean? So that's the false perception there.
Right, so there's the fear element as well, right? So
Yeah.
if I know I'm a smoker, then all the more I don't want to think about
Yeah.
I'm giving myself cancer.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think it's fear. I think it's shame. Like we
Yeah.
have
Shame,
this culture of
yeah.
shame around us.
Yeah.
You know that
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think they are ashamed and fearful of
yeah.
the
Yeah.
judgment,
Yeah.
which would be
Shame.
yeah.
Shame.
But it's, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where if people talk about it more, then they think it will be more like
Prevalent?
in like a superstitious kind of way, like you're bringing it upon yourself.
Right.
But I think it's completely, we should be the opposite. Like we should normalize talking about it, and because knowledge is power, right? So I feel like it is an important thing that we should talk about, and I think thankfully our generation has the opportunity to change that. You know, like I said, it is very easy to cross the line over into disrespect, and that's where the fear and the shame comes from.
The previous generation, they are also, we like to keep negative things. We don't like to air our dirty laundry, right?
Yeah.
So whenever someone is sick in the family, or you don't want to share the details, you just kind of, oh, he has cancer, then we all just kind of keep quiet. And I think that has moved to even right now. So I think
Or
that
they don't
that's
even
one of
say
the-
that, they'll just be like, he's not well.
yeah,
He's not well.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like as
sick.
if he has
This
a flu, like
person is sick.
achoo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
something more
yeah.
serious than to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, so I got a pretty interesting story about linked to lifestyle choices and everything. So both my grandfathers passed away from the exact same lung cancer. One grandfather was like a chain smoking, smoked 2 packs a day, drank all the time, and he got lung cancer. The other grandfather was the healthiest man you will have ever met. Like he would jog for 5 kilometers every day. He never ate fried food. He only had soup and stuff like that. And he got the exact same lung cancer, the exact same thing. So and this was like a few years ago, and it hit me. I was like, wow, there's really no like, surefire way of saying I'm never gonna get this if I do this, So just make sure that you get checked up nonetheless. Like make sure you're protected, make sure you are covered, and that you have a safety net to fall in, because there is no other safety net. Like your lifestyle choices.
You have one body, you
You
have
have-
one life.
Yes.
For me, I think the logical way to think about it is that it's about risk reduction, right?
Yes.
So that like one grandfather could be just really that 0 point something percent.
Yeah,
But if you keep doing bad lifestyle choices, you're just basically increasing that chance
Yeah.
of you getting cancer, right? So
But also, they both should have gotten checked every year.
exactly.
Because you can monitor, like
Yeah.
maybe there was something that the healthy grandfather was doing
Yeah.
that was not good.
My grandmother had cancer, and I didn't find out until I was like older. And she passed away when I was 12, but I was still a school student, didn't really think of it. She just passed. And now when you say that, that makes sense. Like, it's so Asian of us to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, she passed, but why did she pass?
Nobody
didn't
talks
know.
talks
Nobody
about
talks about
why.
No one talks about it.
there is this fear. For me, it's like there's this fear of cancer, but I don't know. It's not something that I know factually. This word makes me scared. So there was once I was halfway through a production, I was overworked, and then I had this mole on my back, right? And it was starting to get bigger, right? And it was painless. So I went on Google and checked, and like that's not a good
Good
sign.
sign,
That's not a good
yeah.
sign. So, but I was shooting, right? So I thought like I need to finish my shoot first. So I waited. You know that mindset whereby work is
Yeah,
more
you can
important than
wait,
anything else in the
yeah,
world.
you
So I
can
waited
wait.
for another week.
But it's like half you are scared to find out, but half
Half
you're
I'm
gonna
scared to
work,
find out,
yeah.
and half I'm
Gonna
also like
finish
I
work.
should be professional.
Yeah.
So I just waited until I completed that part of my shoot, and I went to a doctor. And honestly, I was so scared, but eventually it was nothing. It was just inflammation.
I mean, I was 25 when I was diagnosed, and I went to music school. So when I came back bald, nobody even had any questions. They were like, "Cool new hairdo."
Part of the aesthetic.
Yeah. But I was so nervous going back in because as a girl, like our hair is such a safety
Everything,
blanket,
yeah,
And I mean, some girls can totally pull it off, and they want to shave their head and whatever, in solidarity for whoever they care for, or just because they want to rock that hairstyle. But when I was in it, it was more obvious going to do chemo and stuff that it's everyone from like newborns to old people. It can hit anyone at any age, and I can understand the whole thinking that cancer is like a terminal illness, but it isn't anymore. I mean, there are certain types of cancers that definitely are terminal, but there are a lot of cancers, like my cancer, which is very treatable and very reactive to chemo. Mine is, the tumor is a very specific shape. So the minute they see it, but it is 1 in like a million females that get it because it's an ovarian cancer.
Right.
So guys can't have it because you don't have ovaries. Sorry, but lucky for you. Yeah. So to take the tumor out, I had to do like a C-section. So it was like I had a child,
Wow.
but just like, it was 10 centimeters. So it was like the size of a newborn child's head.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but from the time they scanned and found it to the time they took it out, and I was like lucky because they had the doctor that I saw that diagnosed it. He had a cancellation, and I'll never forget this. I saw him on a Tuesday. He was like, "I have a cancellation next Tuesday. We have to do the operation then." So I had 1 week to prepare, and it grew 3 centimeters in that 1 week. So the idea that this thing was just growing like at an exponential rate, and the thing with ovarian cancer is there's no symptoms. My body was kind of reacting a little bit weird, and that's how I found it. I was living with this nurse in Boston because I was studying there at the time, and she was talking to me about pap smears. Basically, I went to the gym one day and I had an allergic reaction, and I hadn't eaten anything, hadn't drank anything, but my skin just was covered in hives. Like something was wrong with my body, and I thought maybe I just need a cold shower because I hate running, but I was running.
Maybe sweat or something.
I used to be allergic to my own sweat. Another story for another time.
What?
Yeah, it was terrible. But I was excused from PE for like 3 years.
What?
Yeah.
That's Andrew's dream.
What?
Yeah, so the allergic reaction happened, and then I tried to make a bunch of, appointments to find out what was wrong, if I was allergic to something new, and no one could find out. So then I remembered, at that point in time, I didn't live with the nurse anymore, but I remembered her telling me about pap smears and like general full checkup. So I went to get a full checkup, and they were like, "Oh, your abdomen's a little swollen." But I mean, with girls, it's like every month my abdomen's swollen.
it's a
So
monthly thing,
it doesn't
yeah.
feel different. But she's like, "I'm gonna send you for an ultrasound." That's when they found the growth, and then they had it taken out, and then I decided to do chemo. And so what they do is they take the tumor out, they transport it to the lab at the cancer center, and then they do the test to find out whether it's cancerous or not, and then they decide whether they close me up or they
Open you up again?
open me more to check for spread.
Oh, shoot.
They said they have to make sure
So
that
this
it's
happens
not.
during the surgery.
Yeah, so my parents.
Wait, so when you were like open, then they open the
And then,
tumor?
And then they
some
call and
guy
they're
like
like-
on a bicycle just went like to them.
Bicycle lah.
Deliveroo. Here's your tumor. No, I mean, I imagine it's less comical, but they told me I had to sign a waiver to say if they did find any cancerous cells, they'd have to open me up. So then they had to cut, like, I have a really big scar all the way down. And they basically open me up. They take everything out, and then they take samples of the lymph nodes, and they put everything back in.
When you say everything, you mean
They take my
intestines.
organs out because they
Oh
need to
my
go
God.
in, and so in my mind I was like, wow, that's like
yeah, that's
in my mind, but I'm sure I don't know if that's really what happened. But the cool and kind of super gross thing is that I have because of my skin allergy, they had a staple instead of sew. So then because the skin was really swollen, when I woke up, I could like see inside. Shut up.
Debbie, you crossed the line, Debbie. Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. It's important to get checked up, but also just be really mindful of how you're spending your time, because I think I totally burned myself out.
So on hindsight, would you say that you were not healthy when you found out?
I don't know, because I wasn't getting checked up. I wasn't
But how
getting.
do you feel though?
But I felt fine. I mean, but again, I was running on so little sleep. I was working all the time. It's just all I wanted to do.
Right.
And I was very driven, and I was young. So like, thinking about my health was not on my mind at all.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing about diseases, especially cancer, is that we feel fine. The person who has it feels fine, and then the next thing you know,
Yeah.
you go for a checkup.
And it's that whole idea that's like, it's never gonna happen to me. I didn't actively think that, but I would never think to myself, oh, I might get cancer when I'm young. Like, nope, I would never think that at all. And I was really lucky because I had insurance, I mean, yeah. But I really would not have thought about it, because before that, when I was here, I had no insurance. But then when I went to America, the school made me get insurance. So it was like,
I think it's mandatory when you go to school there. 'Cause
Yes.
When I went to school there, they made me get mine as well.
yeah. So it's either if you're American and you're under 25, you can be under your parents' insurance. But if you are an international student, you have to get it, which is amazing though, because then
No, because their healthcare is so ridiculously expensive.
it is. It's crazy expensive.
Well, it's clear that the weight of cancer is real. In Singapore, cancer is the major cause of death. I think it might actually be the top cause of death, accounting for about 30% of all deaths in 2011. About 39 people are diagnosed with cancer every day, and 15 people die of cancer every day
In Singapore.
in Singapore.
day, that's
yeah.
a-
And 1 in 4 may develop cancer in their lifetime.
1 in 4?
1
so
in 4.
We get 25%.
Oh my
chance of-
god.
Well, I mean,
Well,
I think what people don't realize is that cancer is such a common thing, and when we start normalizing the conversation, we'll realize that it can affect anyone of any like body type, any age, any background, and it's not necessarily hereditary, and it can come at any time when you least expect it, even when you feel like you're the healthiest.
exactly. Like even being healthy and making healthy choices, it's still not a guarantee. So you have to make sure that you're protected. You have to make sure that you go for checkups regularly, and that's your safety net. You need that safety net.
Exactly. I actually work with the Children's Cancer Foundation, and there are kids, there are like infants that have cancer, so it's just really, really a lot more common than we think it is. So we don't know what specifically causes cancer, but we do know there are things that we can do to reduce the risk of cancer. So like one thing we can do is to get 150 minutes of physical activity every week. So that's about 20 plus minutes a day. And also not to consume excessive alcohol, which do you all know?
What's excessive?
Excessive. Okay, so we can take two portions, so 2 standard drinks a day. That's
So two bottles
not
of
excessive.
wine.
2 glasses.
Oh my god.
But can you just not drink for the whole week and then put it all together in one night?
Pretty sure it doesn't work that way. And also the third thing we've been mentioning repeatedly is to get checked regularly. So for AIA Vitality members, we can actually get member rates for health screening and vaccination with AIA partners.
Oh,
Cool.
Yep.
Hey,
I didn't know that. Yeah, I should go. But I think we're at the end of our episode. I mean, it was very heartfelt. You know, we really loved hearing from you,
Yeah.
Daphne. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Great inspiration, definitely. Yeah.
I actually met her through a friend, and I never knew that this was a part of your story.
Oh.
Yeah, and then, you know, when I met you, you were such a positive, you were a ray of light. You would have never known that there was this,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. You would never.
Yeah, you
Awkward
would have
part
never
of it.
known, and I just want to commend you for that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say you should continue, you know, this positive spirit. You're doing amazing, and I can tell that you surround yourself with great people who lift you up, and I think that's the most important.
It is. So we should all hang out sometime.
You should hang out sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Positivity.
Thanks for having
Thank you so
me.
much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as we did shooting it. And if you enjoyed it, please comment, you know, tag your friends, and yeah, we'll maybe see you next time.
Peace, light, and love.